Hey there, welcome to the Breakthrough Creative. I'm your host, John McDavitt, and this is the place where we talk about the business of art and the art of business. Have you ever wondered if you have your own unique artistic style? Have you been searching for your style? Well, today's guest has done just that. He took an extended hiatus from work to find his style, and find it he did. My guest is Kunal Kundu. He is a crumpled paper sculptor. He crumples paper up, he finds the form in it, and then he creates beautiful art from it. He has a book on the market, and he brings us through that process of getting a book from idea to publisher to published and on the shelves or available through Amazon or wherever you can buy your books. And he's got a really cool and diverse background. And I had such a great time speaking with Kunal. Now, before we get into the interview, if you are watching on YouTube, would you please subscribe to the Breakthrough Creative channel? And then you hit that little notification bell, and that will let you know when new episodes are out. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, would you please follow the podcast? Would you please leave a 5-star rating? And if you would write a review, I haven't had any reviews in a while. I'd love to get a review on how the show is beneficial to you and helping you in your pursuit of your career as a professional creative. All right, with that being said, let's get on to our crumpled paper sculpture interview with Kunal Kundu.
Okay, my name is Kunal Kundu, and I'm an artist based in Calcutta, India. And I am an artist, but my education has been animation film design, and I'm basically an animation film designer. Okay, that's my visual communication design education, like proper education after my uh, like English honors and everything, that kind of education. Like that's my vocational training education, like art background. Okay, so I did that for some like my initial career, this thing. I did animation for some time, then I shifted to illustration, and then I kind of shifted to doing art as my own thing. And then I started doing something which is called making paper sculptures, like with a very my own thing, like crumple paper sculptures. Like I crumpled paper and make sculptures out of it, and used my illustration background, like digital art background, mixing like crumpled paper sculptures, putting them into Photoshop, and mixing and making artworks out of it. So that's how the whole journey from animation to the artist thing happened. So that's how it happened, and it's kind of flexible, but this is where I am right now. And you understand, as an artist, like it's kind of flexible. You're not really like you're doing animation. It was fun at some point, but then kind of illustration kind of happened at that point, and now I'm an artist. I'm trying to go into that direction, but it's a journey. So
Sure.
I'm right now a crumpled paper artist. I don't know how long it's going to stick there, but I think it's like I'm 43 years old. I think it's going to stick there. I don't want to change anywhere right now. Like my mind is set that I want to be a crumpled paper artist, and I have come up with a children's book. So crumpled paper artist and children's book author is what I tell myself and others. So that's what I.
Oh, that's fantastic. So let's go way back. Let's go way back to when you were young, and how did animation uh, come into focus for you? How did you begin to pursue that?
See, the thing is like, as like any artist, like 99% of the artists, they'll tell you like, as a child, I used to draw and paint and everything. So that's how most of the artists start. Even I started doing that. So I did that till the eighth standard or something. And then after that, back in those days in India, it's like either you have to be an engineer or a doctor. Art wasn't like a like good choice. Okay, so I did that like art till my eighth standard, and then I said, okay, it's not going to do like it doesn't do anything good for my career. So I had to get back to proper studies and everything. So I said, okay, art took a back seat. So that kind of stopped. So I gave my 10th exam and everything. It was like a fairly good result and everything. Then 11th, I went to college, and college was like a different ball game altogether. It's like in India, it's like a different thing. It's like suddenly you don't have to wear like school uniform. You can go in civil dress and everything, and it's like a lot more freedom and everything. You can go to the recreation room and play table tennis, play carom and everything. Is that, and that's when I kind of left studies a little bit, like okay, and a lot of other things happen, like you get into the thing, like when you take interest in the opposite sides. Okay, so girls and everything, these that, so I started sketching a girl in the classroom when a lecture was happening. So I was very rusty at that point, because at some point I was good as a good artist or something back in school. But after a break of some 4 5 years, I was very rusty. So I was doing this sketch of this girl I was saying in the classroom, but I was doing it very badly. So there's this guy who came up to see the sketch after the class, and I said that if you can't make a sketch, why do you even try? It was very sarcastic comment, and that kind of hit very hard. And I was
Hmm.
like, okay, like at some point I was really good, but now it's like this guy came and made this sarcastic comment. It's not really sounding very nice. So that night I came back home. I said, okay, I need to make a choice, make myself as a good artist. So I started drawing again. So I used to do my studies, but at the same time, I took time off. Like after post dinner, I used to sit for at least 1 2 hours each day and start drawing, sketching again, started practice. And that's the time when I figured out like what are the options that I have to pursue art as a serious career. Like what I can do as like as an art this thing. So NID is one design college, design school in India. It's the National Institute of Design. It is one premier design institutes in India where you have like design different disciplines like industrial design, communication design, graphic design, animation, these and everything. Okay, so that was like the MIT of design in India. Okay, very tough to get into and everything, but I said, okay, let me try. I still have 1 more year to sit for the exam and everything. So I tried, I applied for that, got through, and that's how that thing happened. I went like past that, given the exam and everything, and I got through, and I got animation communication design. So that's how
So
animation.
how was that? Did you have pushback from your family at all? Were they like, "Oh no, you're going to be an artist"?
They were fine with NID, because NID was like a very premier institute. Like
Okay.
if you have to do animation or art, you do it from NID.
Yeah.
So I lost my father when I was very young. I was 6 years old. So my mother was there. My elder brother, is 6 years elder to me. So my mother and brother, both of them didn't have any problem when I got through NID, because NID was like a very big thing. It still is in India, because this is like if you are through NID, then your life is kind of sort of made, because it's like they will tell you like it's like if you do animation from there, it's like life is kind of figured out. Like
Yeah.
like it's like the MIT of design, like
Yeah.
I told you. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like they were kind of supportive at that point. But earlier, what was happening was like I want to do art, but I didn't know what to do, how to go about it. So that was like a problematic thing, because my parents didn't know what to like. My family didn't know how to go about it, because they had no clue, and I also didn't have any clue. And I'm talking about 1995, 96. That point, it's like internet wasn't there, and it's like people around my locality, they were also not very clued in about art or design or anything. It's very different kind of time I'm talking about. Right now, a guy like who's like doing 8th standard or 9th standard, they are very clued in about all these things. They can go into the internet, even if their parents they don't know, they can just check about things on the internet. Like life is very different right now. I'm very like I know my son can figure out what he wants to do in like next few years, but at back at that point it was very difficult. Like I remember, like when I, it's a funny story. Like I made a comics. Okay, I was very inspired with Tintin comics, so I made a comics out of 52 pages, like a full inspired with Tintin comics. Okay, so I made the pencil version, inking and everything. I didn't know how to color it because I wanted to do a flat application. Okay, but I figured out, like if I want to do flat application, it's very difficult to do it with watercolor, this that, to maintain that flat part. So I figured out that there must be something, some computer application which does the flat application. So I'm talking about, I have no idea about computers, no nothing, but I had a vague idea that there must be some computer application. So I went and asked a guy. I figured out, like this guy was, uh, he's like a little senior to me. He goes to the office and he has used computer in his office. So I asked him, like he's like a senior guy in the locality. So I asked him, dude, what do you guys use in the computer where you can use this thing, flat colors? Do you know? So he's not an artist or anything, but he told me that maybe there is one software called Photoshop. So I came back. I said, and I figured out, like maybe there's some kind of shop or something where you get photos or some colors or something. Like very, very, like very this thing. So then I figured out, I called another guy who I heard he has done some comics, and that has been published or something. So I called up this guy. I got his number from some connection or this that. So I called this guy, and he acted a little cocky because he's like figured out that thing and I haven't been able to figure out. Like, and I called him up and he said, yeah, I've used Photoshops. So I asked him, like, can you tell me about that? Can you teach me how to like do this thing? Yeah, I can talk about it, but will you understand? Because you don't even know computers, this, that. He was acting a little this thing. So, but I figured out, like, okay, there is a software called computer. There are things that you can actually do, like you can fill colors, like you can, there's a bucket thing in Photoshop, you can fill colors. So I'm talking about those days when you have to actually figure out a lot of things on your own. So, and there is no tutorial, nothing. And there, like, so those days, like when you go to NIT, NIT is the place where they teach you all these things. So a lot of avenues open up. So that's how these things happen. And that's the time when I saw, I think, Lion King, the 2D version came up. I
Yeah.
saw that. And my first reaction was, I want to make a film like that. And I know that I still can't make a film like that. That's fine. But that was an inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was your track in college then? It was 2D animation?
No, see, the thing is, NID is a little different kind of college. It's not about animation as a studio setup. Okay, we just do animate the whole day or something. It's about animation film design. It's more about storytelling. It's about
Okay.
how you become a director.
Yeah.
Okay, it's about the whole process of the storytelling, how you make a narrative structure, how a non-narrative structure is different from a narrative structure. Okay, so it's about whole thing. How do you do a sound design? Okay, how do you do a walking storyboard? How do you do a presentation storyboard? How is it different? Okay,
Hmm.
how do you, like, all these things, all these aspects are important. So obviously I know how to animate. I also know how to direct an animation film. So obviously, so that's, so my first job when I came out of my studies was I was the like the leader of a short film department in an office. So we used to make short films, and there used to be like 7 8 guys working with me. So that kind of thing I used to do after passing out from NIT.
Oh, that's
So that
awesome.
was very exciting actually. It's like, basically it's like our films used to go for this festival circuits, like short films which has won some kind of awards or something, goes to different festivals. So this kind of fun things used to happen.
Can we see any of those films on YouTube or anywhere?
It's like, see, I have a couple of films. It's not. It's like, there is one film. I'll send you one of the links.
Yeah.
It's not really that great now. It's 7 minutes long. It
Yeah.
can be to almost 2 minutes now. It's a student film. I'm not really very to this
Is
thing
it a
about.
link? Is it something that I could share with the audience, or would you just want it to be for my eyes?
Um, you can share it, but I'm not too excited about it right now. It's
Okay.
like it's a student film. It's done some 15, 20 years back.
Yeah.
I look at it like as a nostalgic value, but I don't
Yeah.
I don't like to show it to people.
Well, it's funny, the early work that we're excited about at the time is a historical homage to our growing pains, right?
I'll share you a couple of things. I've actually worked with like the Sesame Street, the Indian leg that came in India.
Yeah.
So I was working as one of the producers, animation producers. So I had like a couple of films there where I worked from the concept to the animation to everything. So there I worked as a stop motion animator also.
Okay.
So it was my concept, my character design, my animation, my lighting, my everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll send you a couple of links there. So it was like not completely everything is mine, because obviously like there were like three guys working in a film, then there was three other guys working in a different film.
Yeah.
Everything is happening together. So there were like a lot of things happening. Okay, like we
Yeah.
had to make 65 short films of 2-3 minutes each, and there are like three teams divided against like, so somebody doing like 3D film, somebody is doing a stop motion film, somebody is doing a flash animation, somebody is doing a 2D thing, like a cell drawing proper. So a lot of exciting stuff used to happen at that point.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
send you some
wonderful.
of
And it
the,
sounds like then that the education background you had set you up for that. It set you up
yeah,
to
yeah,
commercially be able to manage all of these different projects and track where things were and direct and move them through the pipeline.
exactly, exactly. It was like NID prepares you like when you go out in the industry. If somebody asks you, okay, can you do stop motion? Yeah. Can you do stop motion as in like what, claymation? Yeah, we can do that. But can you do like material animation? Yeah, we can do that. Okay, can you do cell animation? Yes, we can do that. Can you do like a 3D animation? Yes, we can do that. Flash animation? I bet you can do that. No, 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 we can do that also. So
Yeah.
we can do all of these, and the thing is we understand what we are really good at, what we are not that good at. So we understand, okay, we need some manpower in that department. Okay, so okay, I'm not really good at, like I understood I'm not really good with the lip sync part. Okay, so I'll get another expert person in that part. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm really good with this part. Okay, breaking down and making the storyboard in the initial this thing. I'm very good with the pre-production part of it. So I will handle that. I'm very good with the character design of the thing. So when there is a proper commission project or something, so I'll take care of that. So my team member will, okay, take care of this other part. So that's how we used to divide when we used to work on these
Oh,
things.
that's fantastic. So how long were you involved in animation before you moved into illustration, and how did that transition take place?
Um, See, I did animation for uh, almost 3-4 years around that time. 3-4 years, like after like post NID, like after 3-4 years, 5 years, around that time.
So
And
you would have been
slowly,
about 27 at the end of that time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So around that time, and then illustration started happening as a freelance projects. Okay, so children's book projects used to come in. I start doing that on the side as a moonlight this thing. But slowly I started to figure out animation is a lot of work. Okay, and the kind of money that you get out of it is sometimes not really enough. It's like you're spending so much time, you're not sleeping at night, is that, and the kind of money, and it's a lot of time. It's like you're paid by per second, and the per second rate is coming down because somebody's undercoating and the project is going there. And after a point, after 3-4-5 years, you figure out like it's not really happening.
Yeah.
Okay, so and at the same time, illustration projects are easier to manage, and money wise, somewhere it's like you figure out, okay, I can take up this many projects, illustration projects, instead of taking this much of animation burden, and I can slowly jump into that ship. So that's how it happened. It was a very natural process. And also at the same time, we could figure out illustration doesn't just mean that you just do children's book projects. there are other avenues also. There are other design ad related like advertising illustration projects, editorial illustration projects. There are like all these magazines. Who needs illustration works? Okay, and once you start doing one illustration work in one magazine, and somebody notices, okay, this guy is good. So you get a lot of other magazines coming in, like
Yeah.
GQ, Gentleman's Quarterly. When they first came to India, it's like a very interesting magazine. They pay you well, and it's like a little classy, this cosmopolitan kind of magazine or something. So when they came in to India, they had a good launch and everything. They got in touch with me as an illustrator. So I started working with them, and it was like a very good money. And every month, you don't have to call for our work or anything. They will give you work. And I started getting feature work for them. Like each month there would be a big feature, so 3 illustration, and you can earn like the whole month's salary kind of thing. So I started doing that. I left my job also. I started like full-time freelance. Okay, so that's how it happened. And I slowly not only went into illustration, I left my job also, regular job. I started like headlong into illustration freelance. Okay, no more animation, only freelance in illustrating things. Okay, then cover art is started happening. Like I have done cover art for almost all the Indian publishing houses. Okay, like Random House, this, that, West Margin, this, that, everything. Like
Yeah.
I've done everything. Okay, I've almost done almost 100 cover art uh, all these years. Okay, so that also happened. So 12 long years I've done this freelance. Okay, that was fun when it lasted. So, but that after that, what happened was I kind of branched out to international companies also. I started writing to like for art representation to other companies, like if you would like to represent me as an illustrator or something. But that is a little difficult also because I'm an Indian guy, Indian artist.
Right.
Why would an American agency would like to represent me? Now it's become a little okay, but I'm talking about like 4 or 5 years back. It wasn't that uh, norm or normal thing to go for. Okay,
Right.
so but I figured out like it would happen. Like if you just like if you just hammer it, sometimes it's going to work. So I used to write everything, and I think one UK company said, okay, we are going to represent you, and then it started. I used to get work from UK and US and everything, and then it kind of just started working better.
Fantastic. And so, where did the crumpled paper sculpture start? How did that come to be?
That is also, see, all this and now by this time you can figure out I get a little bored with something. I do something till a point, and then I figure out that okay, this is not really is exciting me enough. I want to do something, and that is in a way I don't think take it as a bad thing. I think that is what kind of drives me. Okay, so now all this thing while it was happening, I kind of figured out that I have done a lot of kind of work like animation, illustration, this, that, and everything, but I don't have any of my style. Okay, this is not my style. Like, who is Kunal Kundu as an artist? I don't know, because Kunal Kundu doesn't have any style. Okay, and that is like after a point, I was turning 40 and I wanted to have a style. And it was not like, okay, it was not like a very fake something that I want to have a style tomorrow or something. It was like a very this thing, like because for the past 20 years I wanted to have a style of my own, a very personal art style. But I figured out that it's been 20 years I have not been able to do that.
Right.
Something's going wrong. I wanted to do that with animation. I wanted to do that with my illustration, whatever, but it has not somehow come out. So I took a break. I said, I don't want to work anymore for some time at least. I took a break, complete break. I told my wife that, listen, I'm not going to work. So my wife got a little panic, said, listen, you don't anyways don't do work, like you don't go to a regular job, you do freelance, which is interesting because freelance is a little dicey because sometimes payments don't come in time and everything.
Right.
So my wife got a little panicked because she said, anyways, you don't do any work. And now you're saying you're not going to work at all. What is your scene? I said, no, no, don't worry. I have a plan in my head. Like, I'm not going to work for like few months because I have a lump sum money in my bank. So I have something to fall back on. I just want to take like a 4 5 months break without doing anything. I just want to figure out like something should come, which is my own. So my wife said, okay, fine, you do whatever you feel like. I'm not going to bother you. Just make sure that like you're thinking correctly. I said, okay, fine. So I used to wake up in the morning, do my normal things, and then lie down on my bed and look up at the ceiling and do nothing every day. And this went on for a month because I was actually like, it sounds very odd right now, but actually I was thinking like, what exactly am I doing? Because I wasn't doing anything, but I was thinking like, I should have a style, but I don't know how to go about it. Then one fine day, after a month or so, I figured out, okay, let me try watercolor. Okay, watercolor should be my style because I've done watercolor before when I was young, when I was professional, this, that, I know how to do it. So I got watercolors, I got watercolor paper, this, that, I tried it. I did a couple of paintings, this, that. It came out nice, but it wasn't that great because I've seen like I know that I know 10 guys. Like if I go out 10 minutes down my block, I know 10 guys. There are 10 better artists. I don't have to go to the whole world to find better artists. So this is nothing. How can it be this my style? I want to do something which is great. So I figured out that is not my style. So next day I figured out like let me buy like pastels or something. So pastels also I tried. I figured out that is also not happening. So every like I tried like lots of mediums. So then I figured out like nothing is happening because whatever medium I try and in whatever way I try, I have seen better artworks done in a better way. So that is very like I was thinking like what should I do? Then at that point I saw like my son was playing with like crushed crumpled paper sheet of paper, and he was like 1.5 years old. He was just playing and throwing it around and everything. And I was cleaning it up. So I was just putting it in the dustbin, and I picked it up and I saw a shape, a dog's face kind of thing. And that's something like a light bulb moment happened. I said, okay, fine. This is looking like a dog's face. Let me make the whole thing. I crumpled some more paper, stuck things together, uh, and make it into a dog sculpture. I shot it in my camera and I shared it on Facebook. And people said, okay, this is very interesting. People started liking it. The next day, I made a bird or something. I shared it on Facebook. People said, oh, this is looking very interesting. Then I figured out, okay, this is my style because this is unique. I have never seen people do things like this. And I'm enjoying doing this because this is coming very naturally to me. I've never done sculpture. Okay. I've done paper things, like I've done things with paper and things, but never done sculpture. And I've not seen people do things like that. I've seen origami, I've seen wet folding origami, these, then everything, a little bit. I've not really seen a crumpling technique in origami or something before that. But this is something very unique, and this is something which I'm really enjoying doing. So I started making one animal after the other, and now I'm shooting it in a better way, and I'm adding like a lot of backgrounds with my stock images, these images and everything, and actually proper background and everything. So that's how this whole crumpled paper thing came. And then after like a few animals or something, and I figured out, okay, this is my style because this is something I really don't have to think that whether it's better than anybody's or whether it's uh, good enough or not, because I know it is good enough because nobody has done it before. It has to be it has to be good. So that is how it came over. And now and now it's like, and after 3 years, I know that it's not a fake something, because I'm still as excited whenever I see paper and I want to make something. Because right
Right.
now I'm making like the I'm making one sculpture. I'm just making the digital part of it. I'm making that, but I'm thinking about the next one that I'm going to make. So I really can't wait to crumple the next one, because I'm as excited to make the next one, and I'm really want to see how it's going to shape up, because it's like creating magic out of paper. So how do, like, after 3 years, I still have that childlike passion in it. So I know that it's not fake, and that was what I was looking for in that phase of mine, when I was lying down on the bed, looking up at the ceiling every day without doing anything. That was the thing I was looking for. Like, I want something which would give me that kind of passion. So that is
That's
how I think I wanted out of my own style. It was not something like, okay, I want some style, a very fake, gimmicky something. Okay, this is my style, and the world will say, oh, wow, such a big artist or something. No, 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 no. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm bad at. So that's like, I've seen your artwork. I can never do something like that you do. Okay,
mm,
so it's like I know what other artists are doing, but earlier what used to happen was like I used to try to emulate. Okay, oh wow, this art is great. Let me try to do something. But now I figured out like there is no point in trying to emulate that. As a student, it's great, but
yeah.
as an artist, you need to figure out that you can never emulate that. You can study that to own your skills or something. But as an artist, as your own personal voice, you need to figure out something which should come very naturally to you. As an as a skill development, that is a different thing. But as an artist, you need to figure out something which should come very like when you sleep. You don't think that, okay, am I sleeping the best sleeping way or not? You're sleeping. You're the best sleeper. You're not comparing whether I'm sleeping as good as Messi or Ronaldo. No, no, no. You are the best. It comes naturally to it. So when you are doing your own art, you should be doing it in that way, that you know that you're the best. You're not
Yeah.
following anybody. So that's
Yeah.
how this crumple paper art has taught me in that department.
I love that. I really like the notion that emulating is is a way in which we can learn and develop skills. and and I suppose as a commercial artist it's good to be able to mimic and copy, because you'll be, like you said, you didn't have a style. I felt like that for years as well, where it's like, hey, can you do this like this? Yes, I can do this like that. And then they're happy with the job and they cut you a check and then they hire you for something else. But to have your own style almost exclusively is about taking the things you've learned and even emulated that you're not even thinking about anymore. It's just kind of in your subconscious, right? It's part of your past experience, and now you need to act. You need to do stuff to find your way, and you did just that, right? You're like, hey, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna sit and look at the ceiling for a bit. All right, I'm gonna get some pastels. All right, I'm gonna get some watercolors. No, no, no. And then suddenly your little one is crumpling paper, and you're like, huh, that
Correct.
might be it. And some people might take that passing fancy and just go, huh, oh, I'm going to go stare at the ceiling again. But to take that opportunity of inspiration and to put it to work is is where you find yourself doing some amazing things, right?
Yeah, excellent. It's like, and you never really, like, when somebody asks me like, how do you find a style? I tell them, you don't find a style. The style finds you. It's like I never really thought that I'll find a style like that, because I wasn't really looking for a style like that. I was looking at my stationery shop, buying all these art materials and doing and coming up with nothing. I
Yeah,
still have like really fancy art, like watercolor papers,
yeah.
really expensive ones, and I don't know what to do with it. Because I know that the moment I touch watercolor on that, I'm going to waste it. I better give it to some watercolor artists who know how to use watercolor.
You and me both, by the way. Watercolor is not my medium. That's a tough one.
think, man, it's like as a young guy, it's fine. But as an artist, professional artist, you need to figure out what is the medium that is coming to you naturally,
Right.
where you don't really think it. The medium is working in tandem with you. You are working with the medium. The medium is also working with you.
Yeah.
And there is a problem with another uh, thing with this crumple paper. A lot of people tell me like, we're going to give tutorials. Now there is a problem with this thing is this is so much as a meditation for me. I don't know what to do with this because when I do this thing, I really get into a zone. I can't teach you like, okay, after this step, do this like an origami thing because I also don't know what to do after this step. It's like I'm trying out this thing. Okay, the medium is telling me, okay, do this. It's fine. At some point, the medium is telling me, no, 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 don't do this. Don't try that. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So the medium, the medium is telling me a lot of things. How do I teach that? It's like a very, very interesting thing that happens. And I don't know whether I can tell you these things. It's like maybe the watercolor artist can tell you better. Like the way the wash and everything happens, you can't really teach that. You can tell you like, okay, this if you add this, this will happen. But what exactly is going to happen, nobody can teach you that.
Well,
So
it's
that is
interesting because I imagine you. It's almost like as you're crumpling the paper and you're I'm assuming trying to arrive somewhere that it's almost like working with clouds. You know, like trying to see the shape in it, and you've got the light tilted in different angles because the way the light hits it is important. I mean, a visual artist, we all work in light and dark, no matter
exactly.
no matter what we do. We're all working with light and shadow, I guess. But the way the light hits the paper for you is going to be the piece that brings out the features that allow the audience to recognize what the actual creation is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
So
it's
let me
fun.
ask you then about your book. Tell me, how did the book come about, and tell me about that journey.
The book came about. You remember I was telling you about like when I was to write to this art agencies like to represent me.
Yeah.
So I figured out that's a very difficult task for like US or UK or abroad agencies to represent one guy from India because it's difficult. Like, why would they want to represent one Indian guy when there are brilliant artists over there also? So I started writing to many people, like 100, 200 people. Okay, so at least like one, two you would be take interest. Okay, so actually it happened, but a lot of people would just politely reject me. So, but I used to keep those mails in my folders, like in case I would like to get in touch with them later in my life or something. Like some of the mails you can understand that they're rejecting me now, but maybe it's like a rejection of not the work per se, but maybe it's not the right time or something. So some mails you can figure out. So there's this literary agent Anna Wolfswanger from New Jersey, USA. So there was one email I remember. So when I made this crumple paper animals, 5, 6 of them, I sent it to her. The first time when I wrote to her, she politely rejected me, saying that I'm not looking for this kind of work. I said, okay, fine, there's that. So this time I was writing to her after 1.5 years. Okay, with this new crumple paper, this thing. But this time I did not ask for her to represent me as an artist. I wrote to her in a very different way. I said that, hi, Anna, I'm, I'm doing this different kind of work. I wanted to send it to you. Just, I'm very excited. I just wanted to send it to you. So this time she wrote back quite immediately. She said that, wow, this is quite interesting. Have you thought about a book? Because she's a literary agent, not just an artist representation, this thing. So I said that, okay, I have not thought about any book. So she said that, why don't you finish this series and contact me again? So I said, okay, fine. So I finished the series and I contacted her again. So
How
she
many
said,
were in the series, Kunal?
I made 12.
Okay.
12, like 12 endangered species was my series at that point in my mind. So I made 12 of them. I finished it. I wrote to her again. I said that, okay, Anna, I finished the series. So Anna said that, okay, you finished the artworks. Now write the book. I said, okay, fine. I should write the book. I wrote the book. So Anna said, okay, you have not written a book. You have written a manuscript. Now edit the manuscript. So I edited the manuscript. Anna said, okay, you've edited the manuscript. It's nice, but edit it now 10 more times. So Anna, at that point, Anna actually started working with me in tandem. Okay, I used to send her, she used to edit me, suggest I did this, that, everything. So around 10 or 12 edits. After that point, she said, okay, now this is a proper manuscript. Now I'm officially representing you. So that point, she started representing me, and then she started sending it to publishers.
Wow.
And then came the rejections from the publishers.
How many?
The rejection, she used to send it to publishers and she used to forward me the rejection mails.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first rejection mail came, second came, third came, fourth came. By the 19th rejection mail, I told Anna, Anna, I think you also got little problems because of me, because I think it's not going to be a book. There are 19 rejection emails. It's never going to be a book. So Anna said, no, no, don't worry about it. I think there are like 19 rejections is nothing. There are sometimes like 100 rejections also, and then a book comes up. Don't worry about it. Like
Yeah.
it's like you don't really understand how things work in the publishing industry. Okay, so don't worry about it. Work on your next book. Work on your next project. Okay, so since I have taken it on, your book will happen. You don't think about it now. So actually, finally, it happened. Like the 50th offer, actually, I got as a book. This thing, the 51st also I got as a book. I went with the 50th one, but 49 rejections came before that. But after the point, I figured out the rejections were not because it was a bad book or anything. Rejections are mostly not because of that. Rejections usually happen because it's like uh, the book already, there is a similar subject already has happened with the publisher, or it's like the sellability factor is a little dicey because they were from an author who is unknown. That kind of thing factor comes into play. Okay, so those are the things. It's not a bad book, that's why it's getting rejected. That factor doesn't happen. So it was like one of my Hillary Clinton's daughter wrote an endangered species book. So my book did not get an offer because that publisher, I think Random House or something, just recently came out with it. So I made a joke on Facebook, like I got outcompeted by Hillary Clinton's daughter, so not a biggie and all that. It's like this fun kind of things happen.
Yeah.
I understood the joke now, that to get a book published, traditionally it's a very, very lengthy process. So you really don't like after 19 rejections, me asking that question was actually a very funny thing for the agent, or to me also. Now it's, I understand, because I've spoken to a lot of other authors also who are much more experienced than me. Now I understand it's not a big deal now, because see, I queried only one agent. I have just now today I checked one group, like children's book group. So people were asking, how many authors did you query before getting a proper selection by an agent first, let alone forget about the publisher. So people are saying 30, 40, 60, 60 agent queries, then an agent selects you.
Yeah.
I was lucky that Anna selected me in the first, second email itself.
Yeah.
So that
Oh,
like,
that's great insight. That's great
so,
insight.
but the fun thing was, like, maybe because of this crumpled paper was so unique, I think Anna got stumbled with that. Okay, this is very interesting. Like, this is so unique. Maybe this is going to sell itself. And the subject was also very interesting. Endangered species. It's like people are talking about it, global warming, this, that, everything.
Well, and even Anna, it was a year and a half, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
approached her and she's like, I don't think so. And then a year and a half later, you wrote again and she's like,
yeah.
oh,
My
yeah,
perseverance also. So that also
yeah,
is very important. You have to be
yeah,
very, very perseverance wise. Also, you need to be figured out. Okay, you can't say, okay, I approach this person, it doesn't happen. Okay, let's forget about it. No, no, no. You have
yeah,
to be there very clear.
yeah. Oh, wow. So, all right. So as we're kind of coming to the end of our conversation, I guess I want to ask you two questions. And the first one is what's next for you? And then the one after that will be what advice do you have for artists who want to make a living from their craft?
Okay. The next thing that I'm going to work is like I'm working on a like my first book is Wildlife on Paper. The next one is going to be working title is Cryptids on Paper. I am very interested on cryptids. Okay, like yetis, bigfoots, kraken, dragons, all this like the monsters in my bed under my bed who are not real, but actually you feel like when you grow up, you feel like, okay, this must be real. Somewhere in the world or in a parallel universe, they are there. Okay. And they are like people who are really thinking like a lot of people who are thinking like, let's really go and find these guys. Okay. But they are not coming up like the scientific community is saying, no, no, there's no, this thing, there's no evidence or anything. So this is a book on that. I'm
I
trying
can't
to
wait
figure
to
out.
see that one. That'll be
Yeah. So I'm
fantastic.
trying to make it a fun book,
Yeah.
like a little, like have the science community not offend them also, but have a fun with the other community also, like the cryptid hunters also. So let's see how I'm going to make that book. So I did a lot of reading with that in the past couple of years. I've started making the sculptures now. I've done the most part of the writing. So I'm trying to put things together now. So hopefully I'll be done with the manuscript end of this year. So that is the next one. I have a few other ideas. Once I'm done with this, I'll make these other ideas also start rolling. So a lot of things are happening. This year has been a little down for me personally, but hopefully things are coming up. And I think as in the pandemic has been playing its numbers on me because it's been going on now. So I think like 2020 was still, I figured out okay, pandemic, work from home, okay, all bad things aside, it's still fun. But now 2021, it's like so ambiguous. I don't know what's happening. Is it going to end or not? Like somebody can tell me, like it's really going on. So that
Yeah.
it's really this thing.
Yeah.
So that's what. And for your last question, John, I think, um, see, making money out of your art is something I'm also trying to figure out because it's one of those very difficult things to understand. Sometimes it clicks, sometimes it doesn't. I still have a job, regular job as a concept artist kind of thing. Okay, yeah, I work in an animation studio. Okay, so that kind of pays my bills. Okay, I am trying to sell my original sculptures. I'm still trying to figure out how to showcase that because it's because I use digital things and my sculptures don't have that, the original sculptures. So I'm trying to figure out whether to have how to accommodate that, okay, or sell the sculptures as it is. So I'm trying to figure that out. Okay, the book thing is one avenue. Okay, but it's like obviously the book thing is not going to make you a lot of money because until unless you become famous. Okay, and obviously if you can make things like sell prints or something of your artworks and something, so that is another thing. But anyways, like it's like you have to become famous to make money from your art. So that is one thing. So you have to really figure out how you can. So you can't put all your eggs in one basket. You have to have like different avenues open for all this thing. And having a regular job kind of helps. And I have done all these things. Have like I'm doing a regular job now, and I've done 12 years of freelance. So I've know I've known both the things. Freelance has its good things, and having a regular job has its good things. At that point, when I was doing freelance, my age along with my this thing was working out. But with my age, with having a kid and everything, I think having a regular job gives me a better stressless life to continue with my book thing right now.
Right. Yeah.
So I think, yeah, you have to make a choice and understand.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult. There's no straight answer to this, I think.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great answer, and it's got great perspective. Um, where can people find you?
Uh, I'll leave some links to you on
Okay.
my Facebook page and my Instagram. I'm regularly posting things on my Instagram page. So I think Instagram is a good place to find me. My
Okay, and then send me a link as well where people can find your book. Okay, and I'll put
yeah,
that. That'll
I'll
all
do
be in the description.
yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. Yeah.
All right. Well, Kunal, it's we've been working on having this interview for a while, so I appreciate your patience, and I really enjoyed meeting you and speaking with you and hearing your story. You rock. It was awesome.
Thank you, John. I was really nervous, but I think it was good, good fun talking to you. You're such a great artist. I really love looking at your art.
Oh well.
And it's always fun to talk to an artist because I think that makes it easier because you understand like what's going in my head and I understand like how difficult it is and how easy it is to do something, tackle something. But
Yeah.
it's been lovely talking to you.
Yeah.
Lovely meeting you.
Likewise. You too. You too, my friend. Cheers.
Yeah.
Man, I really, really enjoyed hearing Kunal talk about his journey. You can tell that the guy is all in. He's committed to it, and I just love how he valued his uh, creative career and time enough to take some extended time away from actual work to do actual work unpaid to find his style and then to pursue it to such a degree that he eventually had his first book published. And you heard how long he had to go after the publishers for, right? It was his 50th and 51st that actually accepted him. And even then, the journey to go from idea to concept to manuscript to book form, wow, that was just invaluable. Kunal, I am inspired by you, and I thank you so much for sharing everything you did. If you want to find Kunal, you can look down in the description of the episode, and there are links for him there. You'll be able to see his work and follow him and give him a shout out. And that's it for this week's episode. So I hope that you are taking that next step, whatever it is, to learn that new thing that you need to learn for your business, to buy that new piece of technology, to take that next step and to reach out in sales and marketing to grow your business, to do whatever it is that you want to do with your creative service to the world. And with that being said, I hope you have an amazing week and we'll see you next time. Cheers.